10 Shocking and Controversial Facts About Norman Vincent Peale. Norman Vincent Peale, a figure synonymous with positive thinking and the power of mental attitude, has stirred as much controversy as he has garnered acclaim. Best known for his best-selling book The Power of Positive Thinking, Peale's methods and philosophy were both lauded and criticized. Here are 10 shocking and intriguing facts that delve deeper into the life and legacy of this influential American minister. Fact number 1. Early life and personal background. Norman Vincent Peale was born on May 31, 1898, in Bowersville, Ohio. His father, Charles Peale, was a Methodist minister, and his mother, Anna Delaney Peale, was a homemaker, which ingrained a deep religious foundation in him from a young age. Peale pursued his higher education at Ohio Wesleyan University and later at Boston University School of Theology, where he honed his theological and oratorical skills. In 1932, he married Ruth Stafford Peale, and the couple had 3 children. Their partnership lasted over 70 years, until Ruth's death in 2008. Peale's personal life and academic background heavily influenced his philosophical and spiritual teachings, which emphasized the therapeutic effects of positive thinking not just spiritually but also in everyday practical life. His legacy, however, is a tapestry of profound impact interwoven with significant controversy, particularly concerning his views on mental health and the scientific validity of his teachings. Number 2. Accusations of anti-Semitism. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Norman Vincent Peale faced multiple accusations of anti-Semitism, which were particularly centered around comments made in public speeches and writings. In a notable instance, during a 1963 interview, Peale made remarks that were interpreted as questioning the compatibility of being a New Yorker and Jewish, which he later apologized for, claiming a misunderstanding. Furthermore, his endorsement of positive Christianity raised eyebrows for seemingly promoting Christian faith in a way that excluded other religious traditions, notably Judaism. Critics argue that such endorsements reflect an implicit bias, potentially alienating or denigrating non-Christian, particularly Jewish, individuals. However, Peale defended his philosophy as universally applicable and denied any intentions of anti-Semitism. Despite his apologies, these incidents tarnished his image and left a lasting impact on his legacy as a spiritual leader. Number 3. Psychological harm from his teachings. Norman Vincent Peale's promotion of relentless positive thinking has been critiqued by mental health professionals for potentially exacerbating or concealing mental health issues. Psychiatrists from the mid-20th century, including Dr. Rollo May, warned that suppressing negative emotions, a practice Peale advocated for overcoming adversity, could lead to increased anxiety and depression. These concerns were significant during the 1950s, a time when psychological and psychiatric understandings were evolving rapidly. Critics argued that Peale's teachings, while uplifting, might discourage individuals from addressing their emotional and psychological needs realistically. This debate highlighted the potential dangers of Peale's approach in trivializing mental health issues, suggesting that his methods might contribute to long-term psychological difficulties rather than alleviating them. Number 4. The Nixon Peale controversy. Norman Vincent Peale's connection with Richard Nixon was both personal and political. Peale was a close confidant of Nixon and supported him throughout his political career, including during his tumultuous presidency. This relationship was most visible when Peale joined over 400 other clergy in a public endorsement of Nixon during the 1960 presidential campaign against John F. Kennedy, which Kennedy narrowly won. However, the Watergate scandal, which ultimately led to Nixon's resignation in 1974, posed serious questions about Peale's judgment, particularly regarding his ability to discern the moral and ethical qualities of the candidates he supported. Critics used this association to highlight what they saw as a fundamental flaw in Peale's character judgments, suggesting that his support of Nixon contradicted the ethical and moral teachings he promoted. This controversy significantly impacted Peale's reputation, linking him indelibly to one of the most notorious political scandals in American history. Number 5. His views on homosexuality. Norman Vincent Peale's perspective on homosexuality was reflective of the prevalent conservative attitudes during the mid-20th century in the United States. He openly described homosexuality as a pathological condition, a viewpoint he maintained consistently throughout his career. Peale advocated for psychological and religious interventions to correct homosexual orientations, aligning with the then common practice of conversion therapy. In a 1964 sermon, he explicitly categorized homosexuality alongside adultery and theft as behaviors needing societal and religious redemption. This stance not only underscores the historical stigma against LGBTQ+ individuals but also implicates Peale in the broader cultural promotion of harmful practices aimed at the gay community. His views have since been critically revisited, especially given the modern understanding of LGBTQ+ rights and recognition of homosexuality by major psychological associations as a normal variant of human sexuality. Number 6. Plagiarism accusations. Norman Vincent Peale faced numerous accusations of plagiarism throughout his career, particularly concerning his 1952 seminal work, The Power of Positive Thinking. Critics highlighted that entire passages and concepts from the book bore significant similarities to earlier works by other authors, especially Florence Scovel Shinn, who wrote The Game of Life and How to Play It in 1925. For instance, Peale's techniques of positive affirmations closely mirrored Shinn's affirmations, which she claimed would invoke positive change in one's life circumstances. Such accusations were not limited to Shinn's works. Other contemporaries also claimed that Peale had appropriated their ideas without proper attribution. Although Peale denied these allegations, they did considerable damage to his credibility as an original thinker and cast a long shadow over his literary legacy. Number 7. The Freudian Slip. Norman Vincent Peale's rejection of Sigmund Freud's theories was pronounced and public. He disagreed fundamentally with Freud's emphasis on the sexual and aggressive instincts as primary motivators for human behavior. Peale argued that these theories undermine spiritual and moral development, advocating instead for a focus on positive thinking and divine connection as means of personal transformation. This stance became particularly clear in a 1955 lecture series where Peale criticized Freudian psychoanalysis as being too pessimistic and deterministic. His dismissal of such a major psychological framework alienated many in the burgeoning field of mental health professionals who supported Freud's theories and marked him as a figure resistant to certain scientific perspectives. Number 8. Impact on the clergy. Despite his widespread popularity among the public, Norman Vincent Peale's teachings were not universally accepted within the religious community. Many fellow clergy criticized his interpretation of Christian doctrine, particularly his minimization of traditional concepts of sin and redemption in favor of an almost exclusively positive outlook. This criticism was epitomized by the anti-Peale rally in New Haven in 1955, where prominent theologians and church leaders gathered to publicly decry Peale's philosophy as a dilution of true Christian principles. They argued that his teachings could potentially mislead Christians to believe that faith alone without repentance could lead to personal and spiritual improvement, which they contended was contrary to the teachings of the Bible. These debates highlighted the divisive nature of Peale's approach and underscored the challenge he posed to traditional religious practices and doctrines. Number 9. Criticism from the scientific community. Norman Vincent Peale's concepts of positive thinking have been widely criticized by psychologists for lacking empirical support. Notably, Albert Ellis, a significant psychologist, critiqued Peale's methods as simplistic and potentially harmful for avoiding real-life issues. Research throughout the 20th century, including studies published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine, consistently found little scientific basis for claims that positive thoughts alone could cure illnesses or materially change circumstances. This skepticism is supported by modern studies which reinforce that Peale's theories, while beneficial in fostering an optimistic outlook, do not hold scientific merit for his broader claims. Number 10. Questionable interactions with Donald Trump. Norman Vincent Peale played a pivotal role in shaping the beliefs of Donald Trump, who, along with his parents, attended Marble Collegiate Church where Peale preached from 1932 until his retirement in 1984. Trump, born in 1946, grew up under Peale's influence during his most formative years. In interviews, Trump has credited Peale with instilling a gospel of self-confidence and positive thinking, principles which he famously applied throughout his business and later political career. However, this relationship is not without its detractors, Critics suggest that Trump's interpretation of Peale's teachings promotes a kind of ruthlessness and disregard for the truth. This is particularly evident in Trump's political rhetoric, which often centers on assertive self-aggrandizement and contentious statements that have been widely criticized for bending facts. Peale's brand of positive thinking, intended to foster personal success and inner peace, is argued by some to have been misused by Trump in ways that veer into unethical territory, raising questions about the legacy of Peale's mentorship.